Last week's game, brilliant performance against Southend. Obviously, this week has been red card and penalty gate, but we've had enough of hearing about that. How do you think the team performed last week?
Well, I don't want to give too much praise out when you lose games, but sometimes there's a manner in which to lose, and if you're going to lose, it's not in the rules that you can't lose a football match. But I'd like to think it's getting tougher and tougher to beat us. We were in the game, for the 90 minutes a lot usually, and the added time was undone us. Don't get me wrong, it's not all on the decision, but the decision has made the final result happen, basically. I mean, we had choices before the ball went into our box that we could have put with laces through it and put it out of the ground, and we didn't do that. They've entered our box. I thought Ross's tackle was excellent. But on the night, the referee didn't, and you've got to abide by the decisions. It doesn't mean that you're just going to accept them at the time because it's an emotive situation. But I genuinely feel that a little bit of time could have been taken, a bit of consultation could have gone on. There's 4 officials there, but one's made his mind up within a second of the ball being touched. So it's happened, it's gone. I've given my lads my feelings on it, individually and collectively, and I'm happy to have now put it behind us and hopefully, move on to better things.
Great stuff. You've mentioned that we're looking now harder to beat. So let's have a look back since your arrival. What's been the good, the bad, the ugly, on and off the pitch?
What shall I start with? The good, the bad and the ugly. There's a bit of everything there, I think. I mean, the ugly situation that we're in is what it is. It's a tough ask. However, the good thing is, and I've said this from the day I've walked in the building, there's an engagement from the players that they want to do well for the football club, and that's emanated through the performances in training, their application, their attitude, their openness to my ideas, which I guess are slightly different to the previous manager. But that's because of the situation we're in. The pitches aren't great at the moment. The weather's not fantastic. Games are on, off. You don't know whether you're playing or you're not playing, certainly over the Christmas period. So that's a good thing. The bad. The bad is not getting out of the games what you deserve, because I genuinely believe if we were to take what we deserved out of the performances that we've had, we would have added more points to our tally. Now, every manager can say that after an event, but I genuinely feel that, and without harping back to it, I'm going to, Saturday or Friday night's game was a definite case in point there. The same when we went to Chesterfield, we were manful for about 65 minutes, and one slip by 3 or 4 people in a row cost us the game. So again, in hindsight, you look back and think we could have got a point there, we should have got a point there, but coulda, woulda, shoulda don't keep you in the division.
So how does this compare to any other challenges you've had now? You've had your foot in the door a little while.
Well, I know the players now, I think, both mentally and physically. So 1 or 2 have had to hold back a little bit, although they've been busting at the bit to get back in the side. But them guys are getting closer, which is really good, because it's important we don't have a false dawn like before. They come back to training within a 2 or 3 day period. 3 or 4 of them are broken down again because they haven't had enough time. Now, whether that's because the new managers come in and they want to show a willingness or an eagerness to get back, I get that. But now we need as many of the bodies we have in the building fit and round to go. So I'm on my way up there. We'll have a head count this morning, see what we've got to play with, and then we'll go from there.
With that, we're going to move on to some coming and goings. We've lost a couple this week. Coleman obviously going up the leagues. Yeah. It shows we have some fantastic talent within the squad, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the club have pride themselves in hoping they can bring in, players of varying levels of talent, but with good pedigree, who maybe haven't had an opportunity at a higher level up until now. At 21, 22, they need to play football, these lads. So we're giving them a platform to play. I'd like to think they're getting good education while they're here, certainly in a footballing sense. They're growing up because most of them are away from home, which would probably be the first time for a lot of them. So they're learning in life as well as football. But if we can be, if they can help us while they're here, as Ethan did, and then move on up the ladder, then we'll be opening the door and inviting them to go on and further their careers. That doesn't mean we're just a stepping stone for every player. I mean, this is their best level they've ever been at, and they're excelling at it, some that it might be their best level and they're struggling at it. So we've got to judge that and not expect every player who comes through the door to go up the ladder. On the other one or two that's gone out, I explained this yesterday, some players have to go simply to play football because their own personal situation demands that, whether they're 18, 19 and they've never played any senior football, or whether like Michael, who was frustrated and visibly so every time I wasn't using him, although he was on the bench a few times for me and he did start a game, he basically wants to play football every minute that he can. Now, if I can't guarantee him that, which I can't do to any player, then I have to tell them that, I have to be honest with him. He's decided he wants to go on loan, so we've allowed him to go out on loan. Same with young Tyler, on a different level though, because he's never played against men. So he needs to, go out and find out what it's really about, because I don't think he's ready yet, but he certainly has done well enough to be around our group, and is going to continue to train with us if he's not training with Wisbech. So, there are different factors and reasons, but what people have to remember is that we brought 3 or 4 in before we let anybody go. So the numbers are healthy enough, but are the players healthy enough? The ones that are in the building. That's our conundrum, because we seem to have 2 or 3 lads who just can't get fit, or once they get fit, they get another injury. So that's the juggling act. But listen, I've said it before, the EFL window, whilst open to us, is also open to us after the 31st of January. So let please people not think we're done. We will move in the market when it's right for us, not when it's right for anybody else. Remember, I've been on the other side of this, and at this time of year, the professional clubs are making decisions on their youngsters. And basically, they don't want to pay their wages for the next 6 months, so they want to put them out on loan, and we're not going to be paying people's wages just to pay their wages. We want players who are going to come and affect our first team, and if they're 19 or 20 and they're good enough in our eyes, then we would take them. But at this moment in time, I think it has to be a little bit more course and distance.
So you've just mentioned that Tyler's gone off on loan to Wisbech and George Gascoigne there. We've also got a couple of others out on loan with the academy. How are the academy players doing? Are they getting ready for this level?
Well, that's the aim. I mean, the club are planning to be at this level of football. I don't look beyond the National League, and that's what we're planning for. The boys who've gone out on loan now are going out to a level slightly lower than where we are, but that's because of their age and their development process. If they can go and handle men's football there, we will be judging them as if they can play in the National League, not any other level. This club's got no intention of planning for any other level at this time.
Fantastic. So you touched on injuries. How's Denton looking at the minute?
Well, thankfully, the very good medical people, both here and at Southend, popped his shoulder back in, because as he came towards me, it was sticking out almost his shirt. So he just popped his shoulder out. I mean, it's a fairly common enough injury. If you're a goalkeeper, that's a really bad injury. But, I mean, he's been on his feet and active this week. I know he's the type of lad who'll tell me, I'm ready, but obviously medically he's just got to go through a protocol like anybody does. So he's unlikely to feature at the weekend, but I hope it's not too many more after that, because it's another 7 days to the next game.
Fantastic. And any other injuries coming up to the...
We've had a couple of contact injuries, which has been because it's been competitive in training, actually. But they're both touch and go, so I'm not going to say who they are or what they are, but they're lads who have been in and around it, so it's what it is. I mean, it's nobody's fault that. It's just a contact injury where 2 lads have come together and one's come off a little bit worse than the other on a couple of occasions. So nothing for me to be overly concerned about. Obviously, Dan Bowery missed last weekend with an injury, but he's trained last couple of days, so he comes back into reckoning.
Fantastic. Well, that's what the fans want to hear, though, that everyone's given their all on the training pitch to get your attention.
Absolutely. I mean, I think I was quite straight in my talking before the game at Southend, and I did something that will stay in house, but I think the players were a little surprised by. But it's had the desired effect, to be honest with you. We've trained probably more intensely, especially the lads who, let's say, had their noses put out last weekend. Most of them in particular have reacted in a correct manner by showing me rather than telling me, because anybody can tell me they can play football, but they need to show me on a training ground, and that's the platform. If they're not in the team, their platform is the training ground, and that's the same in football all over the world. So, we can all talk the talk, but you've got to be able to walk the walk.
And obviously you've had a week on the training pitch then, all ready for tomorrow. How do you feel? Let's let's talk about it. How do you feel about tomorrow's game?
Well, I say this every week. I mean, we go into every game knowing what we are going to attempt to do. We can only affect the opposition on the day how we react to it, and how we, you know, if we can get the upper hand, we'd like to think we can take it one way, and if we're not, we know we've got plans to change. But the preparation's gone well so far. Friday is always the biggest one because, you know, I'm literally showing the hand to the players in terms of, right, this is what we're going to do, because everybody, like I say, I've got 22 players at the moment available to me, and all 22 want to play all 90 minutes. Now, that can't happen. So half of them are going to be disappointed because they're not starting, which is not a bad thing in my eyes, but again, it's how they react to that, because we don't know. Somebody might go and fall down a pothole on the way home, and somebody who wasn't starting today could start tomorrow. So I always say that to them, look, go home and prepare as if you're starting the game. You know, sometimes I'll name the team on a Friday, most often, but sometimes it'll be, well, this is how we're going. It could be you, it could be you. Keep them on their toes, but I'm still thinking about that bit.
Fantastic. Good luck for tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Cheers.